Generating traffic and sales can be a challenge for online merchants. But selling on the Walmart Marketplace puts your products in front of millions of customers who shop on Walmart.com. And right now, sellers who join Walmart Marketplace can save up to 50% on referral and fulfillment fees for the first 90 days. So get started today. Head over to marketplace.walmart.com/savings. That's marketplace.walmart.com/savings.
Welcome to E-Commerce Conversations, a weekly podcast focusing on e-commerce topics featuring interviews with prominent people in the e-commerce space.
Welcome to E-Commerce Conversations by Practical E-Commerce. I'm Kerry Murdoch. The notion of adding additional revenue to an e-commerce business presumably appeals to merchants. And increasingly, one way to do that is with the use of subscriptions. Amazon Prime may be the best example of a merchant selling subscriptions, but there are many ways smaller merchants can do it too. To discuss the possibilities of subscription revenue, we welcome Massimo Arrigoni, the CEO of Early Impact, which has just launched a new hosted subscription management platform. Well, Massimo, thank you for your time today.
Hi, Kerry.
Massimo, we are talking about subscription revenue as it applies to e-commerce merchants. When you and I were first discussing this, it initially struck me as how can e-commerce merchants perhaps tap into subscription revenue? And the more we've discussed, the more of a possibility I realize that is. You're the CEO of Early Impact, the makers of Product Cart, and now Subscription Bridge. But could you tell us some ideas for merchants on subscription revenue, or how can merchants tap into subscription revenue?
Yes, it's a really interesting topic, and of course, what makes it interesting is that subscription revenues, when they become a good portion of your revenues, they have that recurring portion to it that's really appealing to any entrepreneur. And so there are different levels that you can look at this. So first of all, your core product. So it might be that your core product or service is subscription-based, and therefore it's a no-brainer. You have to find a way to reduce the cost of managing those subscriptions, and so there are services out there that help you do that. So, for example, repeat shipments of vitamins or a Web 2.0 service that people subscribe to. So that's one area. Then the second area is sort of ancillary services. So, for example, you might be offering whatever products or services you sell, and on top of that, you decide to provide 24/7 support, but only if somebody subscribes to a special support package. So that's a case where it's not really your core product or service, but there's a subscription to an additional service that you provide. So that's a second area. And then a third area is features, additional features, or let's say VIP services that you might offer on your website if somebody subscribes to a special additional package. And a great example of that is Amazon Prime, for example. So you subscribe for $79 a year. I think that's still the price for it. And what you get in return is sort of VIP treatment, second-day shipping. It's free for you, and you feel like a special customer. And Amazon has been incredibly successful with this. They don't disclose exactly the numbers, but apparently there's millions of subscribers to Amazon Prime. I've seen estimates of over 3 million people that subscribe to Amazon Prime. So I like to frame it in those three areas. So your core products, additional services, or sort of VIP treatment type of thing that you can offer on your web store. And you can act in all of those three areas.
In preparation for this, for our interview here together, I was looking through our users, people that have opened accounts on our site, and just to get an idea of kind of what they sell. I do that from time to time. And I saw an office supply retailer. I saw right away a pet supply retailer. And I saw a retailer that sells herbal teas, just scanning through the first page there of our user list. So give us some examples of those types of retailers, office supplies, pet supplies, and a seller of herbal teas. How could they offer, or what could they do with subscription revenue?
Yeah, no, this is a great example. So, and let's refer back to the three areas that we just talked about. So, all three of those industries could offer the VIP treatment that we were talking about, right? So, regardless of whether you're selling office supplies, pet supplies, or herbal teas, you could provide, for example, a fast shipping service if somebody subscribed to this additional service that you provide. In terms of the core products, office supplies, larger offices tend to buy the same products over and over again. So you might want to provide those customers with the ability to say, send me these products every month, and this is what's going to cost. And so that repeat purchase could be automated through a subscription service. Sort of the same thing applies to pet supplies, where you tend to buy the same products over and over again, so that also could be automated. And herbal teas, great example. That's, for example, an area where a business model that's worked is the product of the month type of thing. So you could offer to your customers the ability to say every month, send me some samples of new teas or a product that you've picked. And again, subscription-based, clearly, probably not that expensive, and it could be a good business model to try out.
In addition to the Amazon Prime example that you've just discussed with us, can you tell us some other examples of actual merchants that are using or benefiting from e-commerce merchants that are benefiting from a subscription model beyond Amazon Prime?
Sure. So where you see a lot of this is the second area that I was talking about. So ancillary services, and a great example of that is a higher level of support. And you see this over and over, where you subscribe to, for example, phone support, or you subscribe to a service that gives you priority in the way your technical support tickets will be handled. And you see this across all industries, including, for example, when you go in the commerce industry itself, e-commerce solutions, you might purchase open source software where the cost is free, but you might be paying a yearly fee for technical support. There are several providers that do that. So the technical support area is an area where clearly this has to work for many, many companies.
I alluded earlier, Massimo, that you're the CEO, of course, of Early Impact. Your company produces Product Cart, the licensed shopping cart software system, and you've since launched a new product for subscriptions, which is why we're talking to you here with your subscription expertise. We here at Practical E-commerce have considered your subscription program. Of course, we're evaluating it. Could you tell us about that new product that you've got? You've got a product to help merchants manage subscriptions along the lines that you discussed.
So the challenge when you sell subscriptions is really not the sale itself, which is not that complex. It's really what happens after that. And there have been studies that have shown that the cost of managing a subscription can be substantial, up to 6-7% of the revenues. And the reason is during the life of a subscription, all kinds of things can happen. For example, a typical one is the customer needs to change the payment method, or a payment didn't go through because of various reasons. So what do you do after that? And let's focus on that example. If you don't have an automated way to follow up with the customer when there is a decline, that can cost you an incredible amount of money in terms of human resources dedicated to following up and trying to get a payment to go through. So the product that we created called Subscription Bridge allows you to cut down on all the customer service costs that go with selling subscriptions and managing those subscriptions. And at the same time, it allows you to automate some of the things that customers need to be able to do. For example, add a feature to a subscription. Again, change the payment method and all sorts of things, and like that. And we're certainly not the only ones in this space. There are other services, including CheddarGetter, Chargeify, Recurely is another one, Spreedly is another service. So there's a few competitors, and we all sort of provide the same set of features to take the pain out of recurring billing. Our focus specifically is, given our experience with shopping cart software, is in providing you tools that make it very easy for you to integrate what you're already doing with them managing subscriptions.
What does it cost for listeners of this, if they're interested in exploring Subscription Bridge? What will they pay for it?
Sure. You can get started free of charge to try it out, and it's free for 90 days, up to 100 subscribers. And after that, it's very inexpensive. It's tiered pricing, and it starts at about 25 cents per subscriber, and then it goes down from there depending on how many subscribers you have. So it's a subscription service itself, and you sort of pay for depending on how many subscribers you're managing through the system.
As you know, there are hundreds of shopping cart platforms out there. There's licensed software. Product Cart, your company, would be a leading example of that. There's also lots of hosted solutions. Let's say I'm a merchant, and to cite my earlier example of pet supplies, let's say I'm a merchant that sells pet supplies, and I use the Yahoo small business hosted shopping cart. How would Subscription Bridge kind of tie in with what I'm doing with my Yahoo cart with that hypothetical example?
Two ways. One is to do some custom development, assuming that your e-commerce platform allows you to do that, and leverage the APIs, the application programming interfaces that systems like Subscription Bridge give you, and the other offerings that I mentioned, CheddarGetter, Chargeify, etc. They all provide an API that you can leverage to do this. Clearly, that's not what small businesses want to hear. They don't want API. They want just ready-to-go solutions. So, and as I mentioned, at a Subscription Bridge, that's what we want to focus on. So we started creating ready-to-go integrations with shopping carts. We haven't worked on Yahoo, the platform that you just mentioned, but for example, the other day we launched a beta of our integration with Magento, which means that if you're a Magento-powered store, you can take advantage of Subscription Bridge without any custom programming whatsoever. And taking advantage meaning that on your store, on the same catalog, you can now sell one-time purchase products or services and recurring payment products or services. Going back to the example that we were talking about before, for example, you could sell a priority customer service plan at the same time as you're still selling your one-time purchase products and services, and you can do this very, very quickly. And that's our strategy at Early Impact with Subscription Bridge, to continue developing these ready-to-go integrations that allow merchants to very, very easily start be able to sell subscriptions and manage those subscriptions from within their e-commerce platforms.
In the example you just cited there, assume I'm a customer, I'm an e-commerce merchant that uses the Magento cart, and I want to offer subscription products using Subscription Bridge. My question for you is, will that be a separate product in my store, or would that be an option that my customers could have as they're checking out of my cart? How would that work with your product if I'm a Magento customer?
Yes, it's pretty seamless. What would you do? You would go to the Magento Connect marketplace where you can download Magento extensions, get the Subscription Bridge extension, install it on your Magento store, and now all of a sudden in your Magento catalog of products, you can pick a product and say, okay, this will be a subscription, and you can link it to the subscription package that you've created separately in your Subscription Bridge Merchant Center. So the subscription package might be, for example, a monthly subscription with a free trial, and et cetera, et cetera. So now when you go through checkout, Magento will recognize that that particular product is not like any other product. It's a subscription, and so it will handle it differently during the checkout process, specifically when the order is completed. It will tell Subscription Bridge about it, and from then on, Subscription Bridge sort of takes over the management of that subscription in terms of sending nice email notifications, et cetera, et cetera. So it allows you basically within your Magento catalog to flag specific products as subscriptions, and from then on, those products are handled differently. For example, when you look at the product details page, you'll see what we call a subscription widget, that terms widget that tells you about the terms of the subscription, and those are dynamically retrieved from Subscription Bridge. And the same model will be applied with other shopping carts, with our own product cart, shopping cart software. Since we developed it internally, the integration is even easier. Subscription Bridge is built right into the software, so you literally turn it on just by pressing a switch, basically.
Okay. Just a couple of minutes left. Any other thoughts for our listeners, smaller e-commerce merchants, as they contemplate the possibility of subscription revenue?
Yeah, I would say be creative. Look at your business model. Look at what your customers are asking for, and there might be ways for you, even if your core products are not subscription products or services, there might be ways for you to sell a subscription by providing additional services. As we said at the beginning, the Amazon Prime example is a great success story, and you might want to take a look at that sort of thing.
So tell us the URL for Subscription Bridge for those listeners that are interested in looking at that product further.
Go to subscriptionbridge.com. You can see a demo of how it works, see screenshots, a list of features, of course, and get a good idea of how it might help you. Okay, that's
subscriptionbridge.com. And for purposes of our listeners, we've been visiting with Massimo Arrigoni. Massimo is the CEO of Early Impact. Massimo is an e-commerce expert. His licensed shopping cart software is called Product Cart. You can learn more about Early Impact and Product Cart by going to earlyimpact.com. That company's new subscription product is Subscription Bridge. That's at subscriptionbridge.com. And Massimo Arrigoni, the CEO of Early Impact. We want to thank you for your time today, sir.
Thank you, Kerry.
That's all the time we have for this week's e-commerce conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. Please tune in next week for another new episode.